Om Gam Ganapatye Namaha. Kaliyugada Kalpataru. The Fifth Delight. Shri Raghavendra Guru Sarvabhouma. Chapter 24. Early Education and Progress. After the hustle and bustle of the ceremony subsided, Timmannacharya turned his focus towards young Venkatanatha's education. Each day at 5 a.m., he would wake up with his son, complete their morning rituals, apply Tulsi Mritika, that is holy basil clay, offer prayers to the Lord, and sit in front of the temple. There he would begin teaching his son mantras and stotras suitable for recitation in the early hours. Following this, he introduced Venkatanatha to Amara, Shabda, Dhaturupa, and Samasa Chakra, that is various grammatical and linguistic structures. Later he taught him Kannada script, letters, combinations, and sentence constructions. After lunch, he would also teach Venkatanatha how to play the veena, a classical stringed instrument. For the veena lessons, Timmannacharya brought out a smaller veena that had been made earlier for Guru Raja and placed it before Venkatanatha. Timmannacharya himself sat with his father, Krishna Acharya Veena, called Vagvi, and began the session. First, he had Venkatanatha performed a ritual worship of the veena, offer prayers to the Lord, and then commence the lesson. Starting with the basic, Timmannacharya explained the Arohana and Avarohana, that is ascending and descending scales, of the Maya Malva Gaula Raga. He demonstrated the nuances of the notes by playing them, and Venkatanatha, being exceptionally sharp and a quick learner, grasped everything effortlessly by listening just once. With remarkable speed and accuracy, he was able to replicate what he learnt, bringing great joy to Timmannacharya, who earlier continued teaching him. Venkatanatha quickly mastered Sarali, Jantivarisai, their variation, Geetams, Alankaras, and the nuances of swaras, that is notes, with ease. Seeing his son's rapid progress, Timmannacharya was filled with pride and believed that Venkatanatha would one day bring great glory to their family. Gradually, Timmannacharya introduced Venkatanatha to the 72 Melakarta Ragas, teaching him the Aroha, Avarohana, and variations of each raga. He also trained him in the Alapana, that is melodic improvisation. Additionally, Timmannacharya taught him compositions by enlightened saints such as Sripada Rajaru, Vyasaraja Tirtharu, Vijayendra Tirtharu, Vadirajaru, Purandara and Kanakadasaru, as well as masterpieces by saints of the Hindustani tradition. Through these teachings, young Venkatanatha flourished, observing the knowledge and mastering it with an unmatched natural talent. Timmannacharya taught young Venkatanatha the intricacies of individual ragas, their unique features, alapana, that is melodic improvisations, gamaka, that is ornamentation, niraval, pallavi, and the use of swaras, that is notes, in trikala, that is three speeds. He also introduced him to diverse tala structures, their variations, and the challenging art of playing intricate compositions on the veena, including rare techniques where the tala was not immediately apparent in the playing. Despite the complexity, Venkatanatha grasped everything with remarkable ease and displayed unmatched brilliance, often leaving his father in awe. Within a year, Venkatanatha's intellectual capabilities surpassed his age. He excelled in constructing and writing sentences in Sanskrit and Kannada, mastering the Trikanda Amarakosha, Samasas, Dhatus, Mantras, and Stotras, bringing immense joy to his parents. His education progressed seamlessly, and his prodigious talent became evident to all. Responding to a special invitation, Timmannacharya travelled with his family to Kumbakonam to attend the Mahasamaradhana, that is great ceremonial observance of Sri Surendra Tirtharu. The event brought great joy to both Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu and Sri Sudhindra Tirtharu. During the daily rituals, scholarly assemblies, and debates, young Venkatanatha observed everything with keen interest and devotion. When Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu performed the Sri Moolarama Puja, Venkatanatha would sit motionless, fully engrossed in observing every aspect of the ritual. His unwavering concentration and devotion delighted both the Gurus, who were further impressed upon learning from Timmannacharya about the boy's education and progress. After the Mahasamaradhana, Timmannacharya sought the Guru's blessings before departing for home. Accompanied by his family, he approached the Guru's presence, where Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu and Sri Sudhindra Tirtharu were seated on a ceremonial platform. As Gopamma led young Venkatanatha by the hand, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu's face lit up with joy upon seeing the boy. Fixing his gaze on Venkatanatha, tears welled up in the Guru's eyes. The Guru called Venkatanatha to him, embraced him, and lovingly seated the child on his lap. Stroking the boy's back and head, he exclaimed, "Ah, this is the same form, the same brilliance, his gaze, smile, speech, and demeanor. Everything is just as it should be. Timmanna, you are truly blessed. Give this child to us." Overwhelmed by emotion, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu's words reflected profound love and divine recognition for Venkatanatha. Those present were astonished to witness the Guru's boundless affection for the child. After regaining composure, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu wiped away his tears and said, "Timmanna, as we wrote in the Srimukha, this boy will shine as a great soul. Prepare him well, for his advanced education must continue under the guidance of our disciples. Through him, the glory of this great Matha and the prestige of your lineage will spread across the world." The Gurus blessed the family with phala, fruits, and mantrakshata, that is sacred rice, and Timmannacharya, with their permission, returned home with his family. After everyone has departed, Sri Sudhindra Tirtharu asked, "Guruvarya, what extraordinary radiance does this young Venkatanatha possess? The way you embraced him with such affection, can you share the reason behind it?" Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu smiled and replied, "He will become a great soul, a being of immense glory. He is very dear to us. In due time, you will understand more about him." Saying this, he dismissed Sudhindra Tirtharu to prepare for the evening worship. Upon returning from Kumbakonam, a noticeable change came over Venkatanatha. He abandoned playing with other children and became more serious. He spoke less and devoted his time entirely to study, contemplation, and introspection. He began delving into new lessons and reflections. His focus on practicing the Veena became so intense that even his father occasionally grew concerned about the amount of time he spent in his pursuits. Observing his son's intellectual, literary and spiritual inclinations, Timmannacharya was astonished. He continued to provide Venkatanatha with all forms of encouragement and explained philosophical concepts in ways that were easy for him to grasp. Meanwhile, Gopamma kept her son close, narrating stories from the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and various Puranas. She told him tales of young heroes, devotees, and enlightened sages, enriching his moral, spiritual, and philosophical awareness. Overall, Timmannacharya took immense pride in his exceptional son, and the household thrived in joy and harmony. One day, young Venkatanatha set up a small mantap, that is shrine, in the courtyard. He brought the idols of Rama and Krishna from his father's room and placed them inside the mantapa. Arranging a deepastamba, that is lamp stand, bells, and other worship materials, he gathered flowers and tulsi leaves from the garden. He then wrapped a saffron shawl gifted to him by Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu around his head, imitating the Guru's mannerism. Like the Guru, Venkatanatha performed an elaborate puja, reciting mantras with utmost devotion. He became so engrossed in the worship that he lost awareness of his surroundings, sitting there completely absorbed. As Gopamma was searching for something, she happened to glance to the window while passing from the backyard to the side of the house. What she saw left her spellbound. Venkatanatha performing an elaborate and divine puja. Overwhelmed by the sight, she rushed to her husband, Timmannacharya, who was just returning home, and said, "Come quickly, I want to show you something extraordinary." She took his hand and led him to the window, pointing towards the scene inside. Curious, Timmannacharya peered through the window. There was young Venkatanatha offering Naividya, food offerings to the deity, and performing Mangalarati, that is auspicious light offering. His expressions, radiance, and deep devotion fervor left Timmannacharya utterly astonished. As the couple watched silently, Venkatanatha completed his puja, picked up a staff and vessel resembling a sage's kamandalo, and began circumambulating and bowing to the deity while reciting mantras, imitating Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu. The sight filled his parents with goosebumps and tears of joy. They quietly moved away to the front of the house, deeply moved by what they had witnessed. Gopama said, "Did you see your son's divine poise during the puja? Every action of his is astonishing. Who could have thought a 4-year-old child all this?" Timannacharya smilingly replied, "Gopi, this isn't something that can be taught. It is the strength of the samskaras, that is, spiritual impressions from his previous birth. Let me share a secret with you that I kept to myself until now. While Ramachandra Acharya came for Venkatanatha's Chawla, that is, the head tonsure ceremony, Sri Vijayendra Titharu sent a letter through him. I haven't spoken about it before, but today, after seeing what our son is doing, I feel compelled to tell you. Back then, I had submitted Venkatanatha's horoscope to Sri Vijayendra Titharu and prayed to him to analyze it and share its results. The letter he sent back contained many astonishing revelations about our son's future, but some aspects were left unsaid, and the Guru wrote that it was not the right time to disclose them. However, I can summarize the key points for you now. According to the Guru, our Venkatanatha is born as a divine incarnation. He has descended for the welfare of the world. He will rise to become a universally revered scholar, a writer of great works, a figure beloved by kings, a formidable opponent to false doctrines, an establisher of true philosophy, and a savior of the downtrodden, the ignorant, and the oppressed in this age of Kali. The Guru also wrote that the truth of this prophecy would begin to manifest during Venkatanatha's earlier education. You have seen how we were amazed by his intellect during his initiation into studies. And now, after witnessing his devotion and grandeur in puja today, I could no longer keep this secret from you. This must remain confidential. With the blessing of Srinivasa and the truth of the Guru's prophecy, there is no doubt that our son will fulfill his destiny. We are truly blessed. May the Lord grant our son a long life and protect him." Saying this, Timannacharya and Gopama, brimming with gratitude and pride, entered their home, concealing their overwhelming emotions as if nothing had happened. Hari Om. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.